My name is Adrian Nantchev, and this channel is all about helping you become a remarkable entrepreneur. So today I'm joined with Arthur Zablocki. So please, Arthur, tell us about yourself, who you are, what you're doing, and what difference you're making in the world.
So my name is Arthur Zablocki. I'm actually 31 right now. Going back, starting maybe from the very beginning and kind of how my journey transitions to what I am right now. I've always knew that I'm kind of a little bit different. I never really hang out in the same crowds as some of my mates, some of my colleagues back at school, and kind of always from that secondary level. I'm originally from Poland, so over there I kind of knew that I'm kind of, I don't want to say destined, but it almost feels that way, that there is a specific purpose. There is something that I can bring into the world to make the world a better place, I suppose, just to kind of, for the lack of a better definition. So ever since I was 14, 15, I was already involved in a lot of school activities. I was running the school newspaper, and I was actually the head of the student union as well back at school. And then when I was 18, almost 19, I had an opportunity actually of leaving the country just for like 2 or 3 months and move to England just to save up some money, because I decided to study finance and international trade on one of the Polish universities, private universities, and that would have cost me quite a bit of money. So I decided, okay, I'm going to go and work in the UK for a while and then go back and start that kind of my adult life. And at that point, so I came here to the UK, to England in 2005. And after 2 months, I decided that I'm not going back. It wasn't easy back then, because at some point I was actually working 3 jobs. I would work in a warehouse, I would work in a coffee shop, and I would work in a bowling alley. And at one point I did like 24 hours straight, so doing night shift, immediately onto the morning shift, immediately onto the afternoon shift, non-stop. It took me 12 days initially to actually find a job. I was at the point where I had probably like £100 left, and I needed to make a decision that was just enough for a flight back home, and whether I'm going to stick around and actually do something about it and actually still try and push, or I should be going back. I was probably 2 days away from actually making that decision. But I got my very first position working for a restaurant, and then I added 2 additional sources of income, I suppose, more of a traditional sort employment effectively, and that's how I started building up. Then I've met my partner, my wife, in 2000 and not long after, pretty much 2006, and that kind of how our journey together began. And then our child was born in June 2007, and ever since he was born, I kind of knew that I want to be giving him a lot more opportunities that I had, because I always wanted to do things like training martial arts, going swimming when I was still young in Poland, but I never had that opportunity. My dad died when I was 12, so I was brought up by my mum and my grandma, and my grandma actually recently passed away. So it's kind of these things that we go through, and trials and tribulations, I suppose, they affect every single one of us. Not a single one of us is actually immune to these things, these kind of tragedies or events. They happen, and it's pretty much how we respond to them. And at that point, that kind of, when my son was born, that was the initial trigger. At that point, I knew that, okay, I only have one life. I need to make the most of it. I need to leave some kind of legacy, because that's what it's all about. I've learned very early into my adulthood or teenage years that life is fragile, that there is only so much time that we effectively have, and we really need to make the most of that time. So at that point, 2007, I started my journey. But because when I first came over to the UK, I always had 2 or 3 employments. I carried on with that. I had a very small window when I couldn't actually do anything online. So I would start by creating Amazon websites, trying to monetize them, creating some kind of a blog. But at that point already, these opportunities, there were just too many of them. you could just pretty much go online and type make money online, and you would just find website after website after website. And just like many of us, when we are there, when we are trying and looking, we get exposed to this environment. There is just so much that we can get ourselves into that I got distracted. I was just all over the place. And that didn't pretty much stop until probably 2015, 2016. I will be just continuously jumping from one to another, being involved in something for 5, 6, 7 months, maybe 12 months. Some of the things gave me some success, but not lasting enough. It kind of felt that it's not something that would be coming in, that would be giving me that income on a regular basis. Therefore, I was always looking for something else, for something different. So then things, and then in late 2016, yes, it was 16, I got exposed a little bit more into the network marketing world, but actually more into the MLM opportunities, because I do see a clear distinction between both MLM and network marketing. For me, these two, they do not mean the same thing. Multi-level marketing is effectively a structure where you're being compensated for people further down in your downline for them making sales or whatever. But what I was involved in, I quickly realized, because I was in rev shares, like hype type of opportunities, things that at the time I thought that would be quite good and easy sources of income, but very quickly, like literally after a few months, I've realized that these so-called companies or businesses, they do not actually offer any value to the environment, to that guy on the street out there, because it's all just, the money is just moving from one hand, from one pocket to another, from one wallet to another, without anyone actually benefiting from it in any way at all. And so literally after probably 6 or 7 months, I've separated myself from these type of money games, how I call it now. And I've started looking into something more serious, where product-based potentially, where genuinely another person can benefit from what I'm offering, where there's that very clear win-win scenario. I'm going to take the money, I'm going to be compensated for my sale, but at the same time, that person is going to see the value, and there's going to be that immediate win, immediate reward over there. So no one's going to feel that they've been shortchanged in any way.
Interesting. There's a lot of history going off there, Arthur. I'm sorry to hear about your father and your grandparents, or your grandmother even. No. Although, congratulations, or 10 years too late, but congratulations on your first child.
Thank you.
Your son.
Yeah.
Would you say, I'm just very curious, you say there's a big distinction between MLM and network marketing. Would you say that MLM are a bit of a zero-sum game?
So, it depends how you really look at it. To me, the structure of how business decides to, what avenue that particular business is going to take when it comes to distribution, the way they market, it's almost irrelevant. The product itself is at the very core. It's what this company is providing. And just the fact that they've decided not to employ a big media agency or big publisher, and they've decided to maybe share some of the profits with the community, I personally don't see anything wrong in that. It's basically members are being rewarded for their efforts. It's the product at the very core, at the very middle of this scenario, of this equation. That's the core, and that's what a person needs to agree with. If that's the thing with the world we see right now, is there's just so much of that digital. Everything is being changed into that digital form where it's almost intangible, that we need to do a lot more due diligence in order to be sure that the opportunity or the product is actually genuine, because it could be just run by some guy running it from the whole thing from the basement. You just never know. It's not like you can just touch, you can just order. So this is the distinction that we've got to make. That's if the product is genuinely providing value. And again, arguably what you consider as value, what do I consider as value is different. But whether it does something for you, whether it's giving you that positive benefit, whether it's adding something to your life, and that's the distinction that I see. So, but when it comes to MLM to me, it's just a structure. It's basically having some kind of a compensation plan, run through some mathematical algorithm where the money is being distributed in a very specific way, and it goes deep into like second, third, fourth, fifth level. But it's just that form of marketing. Network marketing, on the other hand, there is a lot more. At that point, you are actually being more interested about people, about the connections that you're making, about strengthening these connections, actually becoming friends with some of the people that happen to be working with you, looking after them, doing all sorts of leadership training, sales training, product training, where you actually start caring about people, not just the numbers that you happen to have in your team and your structure.
Yeah, 2016, no, late 2015, I was involved in one or two MLMs as well. I don't really want to say their names, but one of them probably was more of a zero-sum game, certainly. And well, they have some problems now with the SEC and the FCA in the States and the UK, so they had some bad reputation there. And one of the people, there was two main ones that they're kind of like competition, really. One of them was being pushed by an infamous character. I shan't say their name. And I've come to realise that whenever someone is a con person, a con man, I think they're always going to be a con man forever. They never truly change. And these people were for years and years started different ventures, different things in different industries, and just promoting it constantly. And they have a bad reputation of doing this for years and years and years. So I think now, when you want to do due diligence of these kind of things, you want to look at who's behind it and follow the money. Who's behind it? What's their history? Because if they've done the scammy stuff before, they're going to be doing scammy stuff again. And also follow the money. What have you got to do to earn money? Where's the money going? What's the rewards the system? There was one that I was involved in late 2015 for a short while. I shan't say the name of that one either. But there was you recruit you recruit at least 2 or 3 people, and the more people you have underneath you, the higher rank you are, more prestige and all the rest. And there's this big party about when you achieve the top rank or the second top rank, or whatever the ranks were. There's in a big like stadium almost, big like NEC kind of building, and massive party, massive hoo-ha and loud music and all the rest, and you go on stage and all the podium and you're doing a massive speech and all the rest. And I think this kind of stuff works. I think I was asked about this recently. I think MLM and network marketing, you can learn a lot. You can expand your comfort zone a lot, meet good people, learn some good, smart stuff. But then always got to do your due diligence. Yeah. Who is behind it, and where's the money going? Follow the money. Yeah,
I agree. It's because that's the thing. It's just too easy for someone to just establish a company these days and go out there and just pretty much buy a script for $100 and start their own company, and everything's going to look very good on a surface. But at the same time, again, what is this company providing? Whether there is a product customers can benefit without being too forceful, whether the product's been just invented as a cover-up for the compensation structure, for that marketing system to make sense. This is the key. And this is why, like with the business that I'm currently involved in, I've been with them since August last year, and only in March I actually decided to go public with it, to be public, to be actually speaking to people about it. And only in June I've actually made my very first public presentation physical, not just webinar. I actually went on a stage and spoke and introduced their products, services, because it's exactly what you're saying, that it's just too easy to just blindly follow without doing your own research. And just because someone else did the research, it doesn't mean that it should automatically tick all your boxes. Because you've got your own criteria. You've got your own history of being involved in something. And if that didn't work out because of this, the other person might not know that they need to do that one more check, that there is something else that they need to be paying attention to. And the industry is evolving. There's forever something else that you need to really start paying attention to. To me, I initially look at 2 things. Is the owner likely to going after money, or they genuinely have a vision? They genuinely have a concept. They genuinely see how what they're trying to do, what they're trying to develop and create could benefit the public in any way.
Are those the only two criteria you look for, vision and or money?
This is initially. Then I do look into who the owners are, whether they've been involved in any business, what they've done. And again, quite likely, again, typical statistics, 80 to 90% businesses fail. So I'm not discouraged by their businesses, previous ventures going bust. That's absolutely fine. But for what reason? That's the big question. Because if the project didn't mature for whatever reason, it was released but the market just didn't respond as they planned, that's fine. But if I hear that they've run out of money because of something, then the red flags are starting to appear. So there's always something and the fact that someone has run 4 or 5 businesses, one took off, the other 4 didn't, that's actually a good sign to me, because I know that these guys have done a lot of things, they've got a lot of experience, and they've tried a lot of things. They know, or supposedly they now know what not to do and what to do.
So speaking of like vision and knowing what to do, what can you tell us about the one you're working with now? You said you're on stage in June and didn't go public till March. So
effectively, because I'm still involved in a business that's it's a financial technology company, but they've selected the network marketing as their distribution model. And it really took me a while to really realize why they would do that, why they want to effectively the business to grow through the word of mouth and through these referrals rather than using a media agency or using some kind of advertising agency. But the company effectively, it's a blockchain-based company. And blockchain is something that I'm going like 100% into. I believe that this is, after the internet, this is the next biggest change that is going to happen to technology worldwide, that is going to affect every single business out there over the next 3 to 5 years, potentially 5 to 7, definitely. We're seeing a lot of companies, the biggest companies in the world, Microsoft, Intel, Cisco, JP Morgan Chase, from different industries are looking into this space right now and evaluating and how to optimize their businesses to the next level. So that's why I've decided to, rather than being in a traditional business because I want to help people, I want to know that from what I'm able to actually touch lives from what I'm doing, that I'm able to somehow contribute through motivation, contribute through the value that I'm providing to someone else into improving their quality of life. And for me, I've kind of decided that network marketing is what I want to be doing, because I am able to build teams, to establish strong connections, to actually be surrounded by people who want the same, who want a little bit more, rather than just watching TV every single day after they finish work. That's not the way. That's not how to live life. And when I'm sometimes when I kind of hear or see a glimpse of what people were doing back in 1800s or 1900s and what they've been reading or what they've been kind of involving themselves in, we're almost going backwards. It almost feels that we're going backwards when it comes to human development, our own individual personal development. That we're not there, that rather than us trying to better ourselves physically or intellectually, we're not doing it. We're just like zombies, spending our evenings for 2 or 3 hours saying that we're spending we have a family time, but we actually have a TV on for the entire time, and we're not actually, there's no quality in it at all. And I want to change that. This is why I decided, okay, I'm not just going to do it for myself, but I'm going to select the model that will allow this to also happen through my efforts to other people. That's why network marketing. So, and at the same time, rather than just selling, again, shakes, weight loss, tablets, something that everyone has done now and have been doing for the last 40 years in the network marketing space, I decided to actually choose a company that is progressive, that is, rather than taking a step back, they're actually taking a step forward. They're going into the space that is coming, that is happening. Just like artificial intelligence, just like autonomous cars, blockchain is another thing that is going to happen. The big push into the solar industry, for example. We know that these things, it's a bet, but it's almost like with 100% accuracy. That's why I've decided to align myself with a company that's in that space, that is developing developing products and services. And for example, one of the main services will be using a global currency that they've developed into helping in transacting in the way how we transact. Typically today we use Western Union, we use PayPal, we use bank transfers. But think about it. Why does it have to take 3 to 5 working days for you to transfer money from the UK to Spain or Germany? What if it's just adjusting the balance within your account and decreasing and increasing on someone else's account? You kind of start, and people have that greater awareness than before through media, internet, and they're starting to realize that it's just banks manipulating. Banks are doing funny stuff with our own money. And this is actually, I saw another interesting statistic saying that only 3% of our cash is actually available. If all of us decided to actually go to ATMs and withdraw our money from cash points, you could only actually take out 3% of what you actually have. The rest of it doesn't actually exist. It's all numbers.
Yeah, you covered a few interesting topics there. Going back a little bit, television. Yeah. Every now and then when I'm on the street, getting to car or walking, and even when I'm just visiting friends, there's some certain houses where the windows, the blinds of the windows are always open. I don't know why. And I can often see right into their living room, and often always see the television always on. And I'm thinking, wow, okay, you guys can do that, sure. I'm going to be doing my own stuff. I'm going to get ahead. So, like, for this podcast, I realised I had free time as well. So I thought, I might as well interview people, build this community, create some content in my free time to hustle and get more stuff done. And I'm seeing other people watching television. I'm thinking, yeah, no competition. In business, there's like next to no competition out there because the majority of people, relatively speaking, in the UK or in the West or in the US, they're not really competing in general on business. They're not doing stuff. They're just watching television and just staying where they are in life. And 10 years from now, they'll wonder, they'll wonder where's their life, what their life is doing, why is it not moved at all? And the true cost of television isn't the actual cost of buying the actual hardware. It's the opportunity cost of spending time watching that and consuming that. What you're missing out on. That's the real cost of it. And you mentioned blockchain. And yeah, I believe it as well. I believe blockchain is a paradigm shift because the way, banking fees, but also the way it changes people's approach to business and government and governance, as well as laws and regulations. And I remember in 2007, it took 2 days or so to get from bank account to PayPal, but to go from PayPal to... took 2 days, but to go from PayPal to bank account took 2 hours. And it's like, I can understand there's some logistics or some constraints in general. There's always something wrong, some processing power or CPU or something like that. But it was like, yeah, it's just taking too long. You get it started on Monday, you're ready by Wednesday or Thursday, and it's like, nope, by my standards, you got 2 hours. Not 2 days, not 2 weeks, no, you got 2 hours to get it started. And this is also why I like the blockchain as well, because you get, you're transferring stuff across the countries. It's not messing around. Depending on the size of the blockchain, the peer-to-peer network, and the CPU and all the rest, it's going to get faster and faster. And it's like, yeah, that's exactly it. By my standards, when it comes to business, it's like I get an order or an email. Yeah, you got 10 minutes to respond to that. You got 5 hours to sort that order out. Not after breakfast, not after dinner. Now, not messing around. And lastly, you mentioned 3% of cash. Yeah. This is also why I like the blockchain, because depending on which currencies you're using, or even what software, there's a limit, which means that it can't be inflated away. So now we're going into financial jargon. So you talk about 3%. Yeah, the fractional reserve lending system, which means £100 in your account, yet £90 of that could be lent out, and only £10 of that, 10%, will be held in on the branch in store physically. There's a big difference between what's called state money and bank money. And state money is the actual physical money we have, the coins, the notes, etc. And bank money is the digits. And the digits can be inflated away just by inputting an extra zero, for example, into your account. And then suddenly there's more money that comes into existence. And that is a big cause of inflation, as well as a few other factors. but this is also why I think blockchain has a lot of potential. It's a massive paradigm shift to right the wrongs of the past and to uproot the entire economic system and change the course of mankind. It is Internet 2.0. Where we are today with this technology is where Internet was in like 1993, 4, 5 odd. There's a big change to come.
It's happening. Effectively, there will be ways, and some technology companies, individuals, they will find ways in which they can manipulate the system. But as of now, no one is thinking about them, or maybe a very few of them are thinking about that just yet. They're thinking about how they can introduce that, how they can benefit and be at that very forefront of innovation. But that's what it is. It's that manipulation that we know, we realize, we are open because we are exposed to this environment that is happening. That banks have started as private institutions initially, then in some ways, some of them decided to join forces with governments. They became regulated. They became part of like the Federal Reserve System, and everything is just made up. And you're thinking, okay, so why is this taking this long? If you know that, if you have an experience by using some alternative service to it, and we know how quickly the money transfer can be as quick as the internet itself, as the speed of the internet. There is no reason for things to be happening any slower than that. And to be honest, everything these days is about time hacking. Everything. Whatever we do revolves around this equation. Whether that's Uber, whether how we communicate on social media, we want to be doing things with as little clicks applied as possible, visually appealing, being able to connect, speak with anyone no matter where they are. I suppose that the time difference, time zones will be another big, I suppose, discovery or focus over the next coming decades, not years, but decades. But that's where we are. Whether that's Uber, all the applications that are coming out, everything is revolving around that time hacking, how to do something quicker, how to deliver something to another person quicker so that they can actually utilize it.
Yeah, all about time, getting things done quicker, faster and easier, not messing around. But tell me, going back a little bit, you mentioned also that in the 1800s, like the development of people, personal development, and now because people's habits or people are doing in their life are going backwards a little bit.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate a little bit on that? You know, what makes 1800s different then compared to today?
TV. That's what it is. It's
Pure...
that's a big impact. It's again going back to it's almost like touching on this centralized concept of Bitcoin, where as much as I like the concept of where Bitcoin is going, I'm kind of trying to create that bridge between both. At the same time, there is always someone who's out there in power. There's always someone who's trying to manipulate a group of people, so a very few manipulate the many, the rest, by doing something to them. Again, I'm not into any kind of conspiracy theories because to me it's just a waste of time. I'm not really gaining anything from it. But I believe that there is something in it where there is some kind of group that is trying to almost enslave in that form of exposing them to certain situations, events. And TV is almost one of them. It's effectively just gluing people through, and some of these theories, they talk about the waves. I've never really done any research. Again, it's not of a particular interest, but genuinely, it does something to you. Once you watch something interesting, you almost get addicted, and we know that there is that addiction factor kicking in as well. You've got these certain things that you just have to watch no matter what, and nothing else exists at the time when that's on. No one else, even the family life goes into a second plan, and there is something there. So this is the technology, where the technology is going. It's almost like forcing us to be more conscious of how specifically we decide to, what we want to do with the time that we have available. We've got to be a little bit more aware and almost like snap out of it a lot more. It's almost have reminders on our phone thinking, am I in a zone or not in a zone? Am I being mesmerized by something at the time or not? Am I like a free thinker? That's what it is. They didn't have that before. They had their thoughts, their consciousness, I suppose. It's just they were there without staring at the screen that was manipulating them in any way, where you could just sit there thinking that you've only spent 5 minutes, but you've actually been watching something for an hour now. And you're thinking, what just happened? Where did that time go? And with that, they were reading, educating, socializing, discussing different political events, whatever that was at the time, therefore expanding their capabilities, I suppose, their point of views. It's when you're thinking about it, it's genuinely, that's how I believe it is, that we've got to be, it's like when you wake up in the morning, you almost have to just get a piece of paper out and pen, not even your phone, because the phone is already starting to affect you in a specific way. You see a notification, you're being distracted, and then something that you thought about a minute later, you already forgot, and you need to force yourself to remind what it was. It's kind of, to some degree, it's a dangerous world we're living, and it's almost good sometimes to go back to these ways that people used to live by or with.
Yeah, the way I see it is it's a paradox of perceived competition. That's what I call it. Let's say there are 10 people in the world. 9 of them will say that starting a business is too risky. So those 9 people will then go and chase jobs, for example, employment. Yet in existence there are only 8 jobs, so one person is going to miss out. So inadvertently, by thinking that there's less competition by getting a job, there's actually more competition because everyone thinks that. So they all chase the few jobs. Nothing wrong with that, but that's what happens. It's the human psychology. But that one person that says, no, I'm going to start a business, because he's the only one that thinks that, inadvertently he has got no competition. But everyone perceives his action as being risky or dangerous or how brave, stuff like that. But because everyone thinks it's brave and everyone thinks it's risky, no one dares to do it. So that's why I think that, this podcast or what you're doing, we're in the minority here. Even this channel is on. We're in the extreme minority because the overwhelming majority of people out there, whether it's right or wrong, they're doing employment. They're working for another entrepreneur, essentially. They're building another entrepreneur's dream. But we're fulfilling our own future. You mentioned destiny at the very beginning. You're fulfilling that destiny, you're fulfilling that destiny by working on what you want to do in life and not working for somebody else and building another entrepreneur's dream.
That's effectively what it is. It's a company is someone else came up with an idea that they're pursuing, and they're looking for people that would then fulfill specific roles, specific purpose within their organization. That's effectively what it is. And it's kind of switching it a little bit, switching it up. Sometimes I'm hearing from someone that they're happy where they are, they have enough money, and at the same time, then I look into other people that would like to be in their position, would like to be in a situation where they have that comfortable life, but they're going for it. It's almost like if you're healthy, if you have enough intellectual capacity, you've got to go after it. Look at Bill Gates. People are saying how bad it is because of certain things he's done or whatever. And I'm not going into any of that stuff. But at the same time, this man gave away $31 billion last year to various charitable causes. And the only reason why he's able to do that, because he's created that company, that massive, massive global corporation. So if you don't have these entrepreneurs that really going and pursuing their dreams and then creating these massive companies that are then giving away millions or billions of dollars into developing wells, schools in Kenya, Uganda, Ghana, whatever, then you're not actually making the world a better place. Just because if you decide to just sit on a couch and do nothing, knowing or realizing that you have that capability within you, but you decide to just do nothing about it, you're making a massive injustice to the rest of the world, to the rest of our population.
Yeah, I agree. It's a loss of human potential.
Yeah.
But speaking of intellectual capacity, what is it you're working on today? What is it you're doing these days?
So I'm stretching out myself a little bit thin, just like all of us at times. I've already like a year or two ago, I've been making sometimes these little comments, not really realizing where this is actually taking me. And I've mentioned it to quite a few people that eventually I see myself as a person who is running his own software company. I didn't know what it was and where that is going to take me, but because I've started pursuing this network marketing avenue, this journey, and then I've kind of started realizing what's missing. Because it's not just about me trying to push some product to you and sell it. But with network marketing specifically, it's all about duplication. It's all about people being able to repeat and do exactly what you're doing in a certain fashion where you still have that win-win scenario. So I'm actually building a platform right now that will allow my team initially to actually build a successful business through replication for various tools and products and different resources that I will have available on the platform. And then I will be able to then replicate that and introduce that to the rest of the community, the rest of the network marketing industry. So that's my focus right now. Together with, still, I'm not in any way spending any less time with the business I'm in. I've started doing presentations. I've been invited to give a speech in Birmingham. They've got a Technology Wednesdays, so I'll be attending one of these very soon.
Oh, interesting. Is that in the Faraday Wharf?
I don't actually have the location just yet because I've actually attended. I was at the.
Well, is it a monthly one on Wednesdays?
Yes.
Third Wednesday of the month?
That's the one.
Oh, very interesting coincidence. Okay.
Have you been to any of them?
Yes, I've been to every single one this year. I've been going for years.
Oh, that's a small world.
Very small, yeah. But anyway, please go on. You're saying the presentation.
Yeah, so I want to at the same time go deeper. And so network marketing will be my focus because of what it offers. And it's not just network marketing, but the entrepreneurship. Genuinely, it is a 4, 5, 6 year career. It can be. You can give your max over that 4, 5, 6 year period. And then if you've done the right thing, again, there are different conditions, etc. But typically, if you've really gone for it, you can retire. You will, at that point, create enough, whether that's wealth, residual income, bless you, to live life to the fullest. Really, but at the same time, what I'm seeing is the biggest reason why no one is pursuing or considering being an entrepreneur is because they don't have a vision for their life. They have not got a clue how their life would have looked like had they not had any of the financial constraints, job that is kind of on the way. They would not know what to do with their time. Therefore, people don't know where they're going. This is why they are allowing themselves into running pretty much on automation, because we have certain habits that we've developed, and it's like driving a car. Sometimes you could drive 100 meters without even knowing that you've just driven that distance because you're just running on automatic. And we typically spend probably 80 to 90% of our day running on automatic.
Yeah, if people just go through their life not knowing what to do, not having a vision, not acting it out, yeah, then it's a waste. It's a loss of potential. A lot of automatic as well. Just going with the flow, not thinking for themselves. I was just watching a video earlier, just before this interview, and it was interviewing. So a person was interviewing someone else that's rather well known about being very independent and like a journalist, and it was asking, why do you don't identify as left or right or anything sort of like that? It's because he wanted people to think for himself. He wanted his audience to come to their own conclusion, as opposed to journalists just spoon feeding them what they wanted to hear. And he said that, and I agree with this, that a better society, a strong society, civilization and culture and country also, is built on people figuring out the truth themselves, critical thinking, free thinking, and meritocracy as well.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. We've got this. So Richard Branson is organizing another blockchain summit. That's the third one now on the Necker Island, and he's actually introducing the biggest thinkers. He's actually inviting the biggest thinkers in the world, and it's about just moving things forward, making certain upgrades, adjustments. Just a lot of companies had emerged. A lot of these non-profit institutions had emerged because of the work that they're doing. It's almost like people thinking that, it's the effort, or I might have someone who's not going to agree with the idea that I'm trying to pursue. And who cares? At the end of the day, who actually cares? We all have our own baggage, problems, and we all care about ourselves. So very few of us think all the time about that other person, and the other person is thinking that they do. we're sometimes lost in that paralysis of what others would think that we're doing and pursuing. That we all have our own problems, challenges. Some of us are trying to have these dreams and goals, and they're trying to develop something, create. But you just got to go for it. You've got to believe in what you're doing. And to me, again, benefit and that word value. It's I sometimes. I think we need to come up with a better word that will replace it again, because it's being overused. But genuinely is like that. It's how the community, how someone else can actually benefit from what you're offering. And that's the key. But there is that almost no question type of benefit, or you really kind of have to think hard of how this can help you in any way.
Yeah. Before we wrap this up, though, Arthur, when it comes to adding value, I find that very, very vague, very simplistic.
Yeah.
Very basic. What I say instead is solve a problem. Solve a problem. The bigger the problem you solve for the people or person, the more you're going to get rewarded.
Yeah.
If you solve a small problem for one person, okay, whatever, a little reward. You solve a big pressing problem that affects millions of people, you're going to be rewarded a lot. Take Bill again. He computerized the world. He made computers affordable. His vision, Arthur, as we spoke about, his vision was to put a desktop or a computer on every desk in the world. And that was the guiding star. That was the vision behind his desire to strive and move forward.
That's a good way of putting it. That's effectively what it is. And we see these stories now emerging. Jeff Bezos, all of a sudden, it's just everyone's talking about Jeff these days and what he's achieved and how the Amazon is effectively developing and branching out, introducing these different sectors. But the journey wasn't easy for him either. Everyone needs to start somewhere, and we see too many people are focusing on these overnight successes, but none of them, not a single one of them.
Unfortunately, it does take time. And it isn't overnight with these things, unfortunately, because it would be nice if it was much quicker. But also, it's supposed to be hard. It's the difficulty that makes it great. And also, you're an overnight success. That's like 20 years in the making.
Right. Yeah.
But Arthur, what is the best way for the audience to get in touch with you?
Facebook.
Facebook, all right.
Right now it's Facebook. Facebook.com/Arthur Zablocki. Yes, I'm spending the vast majority of my time. Again, I sometimes go through stages where I'm really active on Facebook, then I'm a little bit quiet on Facebook. It depends on what I'm doing right now. Right now, I'm a little bit quiet because of the software development. I'm at the stage where I really need to work closely with my developers. We have Skype calls, just kind of sketching things on a board, just to make sure that things happen on time. So, and it depends on my travels as well, because and again, that's very quick because I know that we're wrapping up, but it's the opportunities. It's crazy when you think about it. It's like when you're working for yourself, you have the entire day for yourself. Again, family commitments, whatever else. But like now, my son is at school, the holiday club. I've got that 9 to 3 window where if I want to go shopping, I go shopping at 10 o'clock when it's quiet. No one's on the road, no queues in a shop. And where everyone else is going, they're thinking that they're better off because they have that security. Every single thing that they're doing, going to the gym, going shopping, going out, it's busy. They've got to wait. So they pretty much have given away 80%, 90% of their time to someone else. And then because of that, they have to give away even more.
Yeah, a lot of people are living the life they don't want to live in quiet desperation. I forgot who said that. But living a life of quiet desperation. And most people, they don't live up to their potential, and they don't realise it. For any number of reasons, ignorance, fear, doubt, insecurities, they don't live up to it. But it's individual journey to discover what you can do, and then to actually do it.
And it takes time. For some of us, we can't be in any way discouraged just because for someone else it clicked a lot quicker or sooner than them. It took me 10 years to figure out what I'm about, but now I know. And now I can run with it.
Yeah, It takes some time. Some people faster than others. But Arthur, nonetheless, it was great to have you on the show.
Thank you much for the opportunity.
And also remember, if you haven't already, click on the subscribe button and then press the bell notification right next to it for the latest uploads. How cool is that?